Rental property investing. That's what we're going to be talking about in this video. If you're ready, let's rock. Hey, my name is Mark Walters, and I'm here to help you stack your income. That's exactly what I show you how to do inside of my real estate income stacking handbook. And in this video, we're going to be focusing in on some things that I've learned over the years when it comes to rental property investing. I have the good fortune to be able to be a third generation real estate investor. My family let me learn a lot of the things on my own along the way. So I really had to focus in on things that worked efficiently. So back in 1994, I actually managed my parents' rental house portfolio. A couple years later, I started my own rental house portfolio, and rental property investing was just natural. That's something my grandfather did. He taught it to my father, the things that he learned. My father taught things to me. And I want to share with you three key things in today's market that has been really helpful. So back in 1994, there was no internet. The way that you marketed to buy properties, the way that you marketed to fill properties with tenants, it was different back then. So as more technology became readily available, of course, I gravitated towards it and really had a perspective of appreciation because I know how it was in the old days, so to speak. So I just wanted to share a few things with you here. First of all, we want to get the deeds to properties so we are the legal owners, or our business is the legal owner of those properties. So that way we then can turn around on Zillow, and as the legal owner, we have some abilities to be able to market those properties as the owner. That's really impactful. Now, I remember back in the old days having to put small little ads in the newspaper, hoping that somebody would find it and then would contact me or go to then my website eventually and then start that conversation. Now, it just depends what kind of market you're watching this in. As I'm making this, the market is red hot for rentals, and it is a very simple process to find all kinds of people who would like to rent your property. Now, that is a gift. And one of the things I want to share here is I have seen all kinds of markets. I have waited and waited for one person to be interested to rent a property that I had, let alone have 30 in just, a handful of hours be contacting me. I've had both of those scenarios play out. So I recognize that a hot market is great and things can change. So as we are going forward, just recognize a handful of these things that I'm talking about. It could be that in certain markets, you don't need to do that as much as in other markets. But I'm going to offer you three things here that I have found helpful. First of all, like I said, in the old days, I remember placing ads in newspapers. Well, that has been replaced by placing some type of an ad online. And there are a number of different websites where you can be putting free type of ads for your rental properties. When it comes to Zillow, they've made it so simple for us to provide really good information that people are looking for in the description and other types of the stats and the data and things like that on a property. And also to be able to provide pictures. People want to scroll through properties for sale and for rent, depending on what it is they're looking for. I love looking for properties on Zillow just because it's fun to look, but you also can find bargains. And when it comes to renting a property, it's important that your pictures sell what it is you're offering. Have you ever looked on Zillow or anywhere else and seen pictures of the interior of a place that's probably pretty nice, but it's just not well lit? Somebody's gone through with their phone, they've taken some pictures, and then they just put it up online. So definitely make sure that you're taking pictures of a well-lit room in the best vantage point. So that way people can get excited about what it is you're offering, and you can be offering it in the best light. Definitely a pun intended there. So first of all, Zillow to rent property is great. You can do it for free, and you can potentially get a lot of people interested and contacting you in a very short amount of time. That's what I've experienced, especially compared to the old days. Now, once you find people that are interested, of course, you're going to want to screen diligently. It's not just about getting somebody in the property so they can help make those mortgage payments. You need to find the right people. Otherwise, it's a problem down the road. So that is common sense. Next, once you've found somebody though, and also in the marketing of it, depending on the market, if this is something that you need to do, you can offer rent incentives. Now, I learned about this years ago from a mentor of mine that had a lot of rental properties, and I like the idea because I like a bargain, and I'm sure you do too. We all want to be able to save money. So a rent incentive is simple because you're letting the potential tenant know that they can save X amount of dollars if they pay before the first of the month and they handle any minor maintenance. We're not talking big maintenance, so once they're done renting the property, you're finding all these problems, you're letting them know that it's just the minor stuff. I'll let them know, listen, I don't want you to call me about a toilet that stopped up. I want you to take care of that. The big things, I definitely want you to contact me. You're not going to lose your rent incentive over that. The big things I want to know about, but I don't want to be called for every little thing. And for that, I'm going to give you a rent incentive. Plus, you have to pay me before the first of the month. That way I know that rent is being paid. I don't have to worry about it. You're taking care of the property, and that way you don't have to worry about me coming over all the time either. And if something big needs to be taken care of, definitely contact me. I am not going to make you lose your rent incentive for that reason. So it's not a deferred maintenance scenario where they're just not telling you about all the really important things that need to be done to the property. So it's just educating the tenant as to how the rules work of this game, which is a way that they can save $50 a month or $100 a month or whatever makes sense in your current situation. So what you can say is, look, if you want to save $50 a month, for example, you're going to be able to save $600 per year by simply taking care of the little stuff, so I'm not constantly getting phone calls about it, and pay me before the first of the month. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in? Well, sure, everybody would. Now that does a couple things. It takes some of the management off of your shoulders if you're the one doing it for the little things, and then you're also getting paid on time, because that is one of the stresses of property management, is getting paid on time. If you don't get paid on time, then you've got to do the things that you're allowed to do to get that payment or get that person out of the property. You've always got to follow the fair tenant rules, but this is something that hopefully they can value. But here's something that's really important to remember, and that is if they don't pay by the first of the month, they have to pay the higher amount. Now, it might be one of those things you're feeling, oh, this is mean, or, oh, I've got a good relationship, they're only a couple days late. The problem with that is that these are rules. And if the rules aren't enforced, then they're not really rules. And you can let them know that. You can say, look, if I were to accept a late payment, it just happens over and over. And you can even say, hey, one of the things that I've learned, even if you're learning it from others, as I'm sharing with you now, if somebody pays late and knows that they continue to do so. And that is not why I'm in this business. This is a business. I'm giving you a rent incentive to help motivate you, pay me before the first of the month. So I'm sure you can understand that. And then just enforce it. That way they know going forward, they've got to pay before the first of the month. Pretty simple, but these are things that I let people know before they move into the property. So I've gone through the screening process. I know these are people that I want to rent to, but it's an educational process, and everybody's nice in the very beginning. So you've got to let them know these are rules. I enforce these rules. Don't ask for this one time or anything like that. Expect that you're going to have to pay more. And if you've got any escalating rent based on the days, depending on what the tenant rules are in your area, if you want to do that. So these people know that it's not just, oh, I got to pay an extra 50. It's like, well, you may have to pay the extra 50 plus whatever fees on top of that. Again, you're educating them in the beginning, saying, I hope you never pay me late. I hope you always get the rent incentive discount. That is X amount of dollars per year savings. And definitely share with them the number that they'll be saving annually. If it's $100 a month, that's $1,200 a year. That is a lot of money. So let them know, hey, I want you to save $100 a month. I want you to save $1,200 a year. All you have to do is the things that we just talked about. The other thing is, back in the old days, I used to get checks. And of course, checks might come late, checks might bounce. That is a real problem. Fast forward some time where then people can pay my bank account, my business's bank account, with either cash or a money order. That way I know exactly when rent has been paid, because I can just go online and see when a deposit has been made. So I'll give people deposit slips with the bank information for the particular account that I've got set up for rental income. All right. That way, again, during the time that I'm educating them about rent incentives and all the other rules that go along inside of the rental contract, I'm letting them know this is how you pay rent. By cash or by money order, you're going to go to the bank and you're going to make these deposits. That way, you know exactly if the rent has been paid or not. And they know. It takes all of the guesswork out. It takes all of, the tenants saying one thing, doing another thing. Forget that. You're letting them know from the beginning, look, I'm going to know when rent is paid. This is how rent is paid for this property, and these are the rent incentives. I check online to see when the payment's been made. I can see if it has been made, pretty simple and straightforward. They're going to understand that, but at the same time, it's going to take the uncertainty out of all of this if they were to pay by check or anything like that, like the old days. I don't want that to happen to you. So rental property investing. These are just a few tips that I find valuable. I hope you do too. I've put a lot more information as well inside of my real estate income stacking handbook. I'm hoping that it can help you as well. I'll put a link to that down in the description. This is just one way to be generating income with real estate. So if you like the idea of stacking your real estate income as well, take advantage of the handbook and what we're going to be covering in my next video, because it's so much fun to gravitate towards certain activities within a niche. And in this case, we're talking real estate, and then finding some of the other activities that naturally just dovetail with them so you can provide a larger amount of services that have the chance to attract more income sources that you can stack. If that sounds good, join me on my next video and I'll share more with you there.